Welcome to Pacific Northwest Outdoors. My name's Chris, and today I figured I would give you guys the grand tour of the place. So it's a gorgeous, overcast, kind of drizzly day here in Oregon. Something that you kind of got to get used to up here. So let me give you a little backstory. I moved here from Los Angeles about 9 months ago, and bought this property out here. We lived in, the suburbs of Los Angeles, and there wasn't a lot of land on the property. I had a little vegetable garden going and always had an interest in it. And then through various circumstances, we moved up here to Oregon. Now, in Oregon, we have a good-sized property. I mean, we're kind of in the middle of the forest here. We've got a lot of trees and a lot of brush to deal with. We have a lot of areas that we can use for gardening and whatnot. So let me show you around the place, and you can see not only what I've done already, but all of the projects that I have in my head that I'm waiting to do. And this is George. Say hi, George. Good boy. You want to come with us? Okay. All right, let's go. Okay, so this is the front yard garden. We've actually got 4 raised beds here. These are about 12 feet each, and then I got 2 more back there that are about 10 feet each. So I used these last year, but we moved up here in May, so we got a really late start on the growing season, so I wasn't too productive last year, but this was all overgrown. The people that had lived here had kind of let the property go for about 2 or 3 years. And so like these beds back here, you couldn't even see them when we moved in. It was actually a surprise. I thought I only had these 2, and it turns out I had 4 because they were completely covered in brush. So a lot of last year was clearing these out, and then I emptied out all of these raised beds, and I refilled them with some good compost that I got from a local compost place, and then also some rock dust and worm castings and peat moss and everything that you're supposed to put into the raised bed to make sure that it's successful. Right now, the only thing I have growing are these garlic bulbs. So we have a friend of ours that we found out their parents own a garlic farm. So they gave us a whole bunch of garlic. I planted probably about 100 of these throughout the property. I've never actually tried growing garlic before, but hopefully it works out. So I've got this, and one of the things I need to do is weed. There's some leftover kale and lettuce from last year, but that's about all I have left in here. This is basically all weeds except for a couple little patches of lettuce right there. So, all right, on these back beds over here, again, we've got more garlic popping up back there. The rest of this one is just all weeds. So these are so close together too. It's really a pain in the butt to weed these things, but I'll have to get in there and do it at some point. This one's not so bad on the weeds, really nothing left growing in there. These PVC pipes I have going over it are because I tried to extend the season a little bit since I got a late start, and I basically put those and then put some plastic sheeting over the tops to create little hoop houses, little mini greenhouses, and it didn't work that well. Mostly it was just a pain to get in and out of when I wanted to. So kind of out of laziness, I just ended up neglecting them. Hey George, how's it going, buddy? So this is one of the nice things about this property. It came with its own little greenhouse. So this greenhouse is about 12 feet by 8 feet. Really nice little structure, except that they kind of screwed up here. There's a lot I need to do to actually beef this thing up. So it's got shelf space, and it's got the plastic greenhouse material for windows. But the problem is, this is where I want the sun to come from, and on this side they put plastic top to bottom, so it's clear. So not only is this kind of a waste because it doesn't insulate as well, but no sunlight gets through here, and any sunlight that comes in could go right out the back. It's not reflected. So I got a lot of ideas for how I can beef this up. Also, where these little holes come in here, there's no insulation, so air gets right in. So really it's not even a functioning greenhouse here. We can see that this here is outside 54 degrees, inside 56 degrees. So it's not much of a greenhouse going on. Not much of a greenhouse effect going on. So at any rate though, at some point I'm going to switch sides here, make this down here plastic just like it is up here, get rid of this one. I'll probably just swap the sides actually, and then insulate this back side here with some nice reflective insulation. And I'm sure I'll do a video on that whole project. So here we are at the back of my property. I really wish I could get into this field here, because in this field it's direct sunlight all summer long. Just the most direct sunlight, more than I even have on my property. But beyond this gate is private property, so I would be trespassing. So unfortunately I can't get out there, but I can certainly dream about it. And here we have one of the many creatures that are new to me and found all throughout this property. This is I think it's a banana slug, or it might be some other kind of slug, but these guys are absolutely everywhere. And they get into my greenhouse, so I got to figure out a way to keep them out. I've heard that you can use copper strips, and they won't cross the copper strips, so we'll try that, I'm sure, at some point coming up here. But just one of the many creatures we have. We've also run into bears up here, which is a new one for me. Never had to deal with bears before, but we definitely had a bear here. You could actually feel it in the air for about 3 days last year that there was a bear somewhere very close. And I found bear scat, and I found places where he had slept for the night and stuff. So definitely interesting and new to be worrying about bears. Not something I had to worry about in Los Angeles. Stay away from the slugs, George. And this is more of the back side of my property. My property actually goes down here quite a ways. I have about 1.25 acres, so I think it goes probably about maybe 50 yards past this big tree here down the hill. I haven't really explored there too much because there's a deer fence up, and I'd have to figure out a way through there. So believe me, there's plenty to explore without having to go all the way down there. One of the first things I want to do is take this tree actually and chop off these limbs. If you can see, they're actually brushing on the ground. Again, this place wasn't kept up for 2 or 3 years, so I want to get up there and chop down some of these lower hanging limbs. I bought a pole saw from Home Depot, and hopefully that will do the trick. Now this area here, we're getting on the east side of my house. This is something that's really kind of nice. If you look up, you basically just have this nice little clearing of trees, and then at the bottom is just a bunch of scrub brush. So I'd like to eventually clear out all of this scrub brush and make that a nice little area, sitting area, underneath this ring of trees. You know, get rid of course, the dead trees and all that. But I think that would be really nice. Maybe put even a little fire pit in there or something. You know, these branches are, the first branches up here are a good, 60 feet in the air, so I wouldn't worry about catching fire or anything. You'll also notice if you look through the woods here, like right here, dead tree hanging over, dead tree standing up. There's a couple right here, that's a dead tree. So a lot of dead trees I have to contend with once I start clearing out the property. You can see even in here, anything that's leaning over like that, this one over here, these are all mostly dead, and I got to take them down. So I have a chainsaw that I bought, but I haven't really put it to use yet, so that'll be something that I got to do coming up here when the weather starts getting a little bit better, is take down some of these trees and figure out the best and most efficient way to process those for firewood. Alright, so coming around the front side of the house, I've got this nice little path that goes up the side here, and it comes out to my deck, and right in front of the deck actually gets a good amount of sun. So I planted 2 trees here last year. This one's an apple tree, and I already have an apple tree elsewhere on the property, so hopefully it'll cross-pollinate. And then this one is a pear tree, so you can see the buds are just starting to come out. And so I've never had a pear tree, but I'm looking forward to eating some pears. See if I can get that focused in. So these are coming in nice and strong. I planted these fall of last year. The interesting thing about this pear tree, it's actually 4 pear trees grafted together. So we've got a Compost pear, we've got a red claps pear, we've got a Bartlett pear, and we've got a Highland pear. So each of these branches is a different type of pear, and since they're all grafted together, they'll actually cross-pollinate each other, which is really cool. So looking forward to seeing how that turns out this year. I've got a couple more raised beds up here. This is mostly for herbs and lettuce and things like that. This is on my front deck, and I had these little planter boxes. They're 1 foot by 6 foot, and they're held off the ground. And I had those made by a local guy here in Oregon, and I think they cost me about 80 bucks a piece, but I'm really happy with them. Pure cedar. Works great out here in this weather. Alright, back to the front of the yard here, or front of the house, and this is a maple tree of some sort. I don't know exactly what kind it is, but gorgeous tree, kind of the centerpiece of the front property up here. And then right next to it, if you see back here, this is a giant hemlock tree. And one thing that we found out last year is that right underneath this hemlock tree is some sort of large organism of some sort, because after the first rain in summertime or in fall, we got a whole bunch of these huge mushrooms. I mean, huge mushrooms, bigger than the size of my hand, popped out of this area right around here underneath this hemlock tree. And we didn't know what they were, and then finally did some research after they had gone away and found out that they were porcinis, apparently one of the most sought after mushrooms that you can have, and we just let them die. So next year we'll know better, and we'll take them out of the ground and eat them. Alright, so this is kind of off of my front driveway, and if you see this whole pile right here, from here all the way back there, this is all of the brush that I've cleared so far since I've lived here, and it is basically a huge mountain of brush, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I know you can get a burn permit. You can you know, go down to the fire station and get a free permit to burn. They'll tell you when you can and you can't. So I'll probably do that at some point, but man, this is just so much brush, and I might even go get a wood chipper, because you can see, like, on this side is where I stacked all the branches. It would be really nice to actually chip those up and use the wood chips, let them sit for a couple years and turn into really good compost. Speaking of compost, if you look back here, there's this structure, a very dilapidated structure, just wood framing with some chicken fence or pig fence behind it, and basically 3 little sections, one there, and one there. And I think this was a compost heap, or this is where they did compost. Again, the people that lived here before me were master gardeners, Oregon State master gardeners, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if they had compost piles here. But of course, completely overgrown. This thing's fallen over. I might try to repair it, get it back in action, and put my compost piles there, but I'm gonna have to contend with all this brush first. So over here we have the compost pile that I've started. There's no shortage of good compost material around here, so figured just pile up what I can and let it go. And I don't have any sort of composter or anything, but hopefully this will do fine out here. I also have this whole line of logs that have already been cut down, but unfortunately it's all wet. I let it all get too wet, so not really usable. I'll have to dry it out this summer once the weather turns. I also have to create a nice place to store it. It's going to keep it dry out here, so I got to come up with a solution for that as well. I have a couple of ideas though, so I think I'll be all right. Over here is the front area of my property, and it's a pretty good sized area. This is probably about 1/3 of an acre or so, that's basically just overgrown. It's just forest land. No one's ever really done anything with it. And so I got to figure out what I can actually do. I mean, I have so many ideas, and all of it's just going to take a ton of work to pull off. So it's a nice area. Out here in the front, it actually gets really nice sunlight in the summertime. So I might be able to create some more raised beds out here, or figure something out that works. Right now it's just pretty useless and very, very, very overgrown. I mean, look at that. My driveway's on the other side of that. You can't really even see through it. Crazy. Alright, back up here at the front of the house, there's where we started. These are blueberries. So I've got 4 blueberry bushes there, and 4 blueberry bushes behind those ones that are kind of shaded out by these trees above them. So I'll be trying to do as much as I can to get more sun back in this little area back here, but these ones up front get plenty of sun. So I've fertilized those already, and hopefully we'll get a ton of blueberries this year. So there you have it. That's a look at the property. A lot of the things that I plan to do, as you can see, I've got my work cut out for me. No shortage of stuff, no shortage of projects. So thanks for watching. This is Pacific Northwest Outdoors. My name's Chris, and we'll see you next time. Hey everybody, this has been Pacific Northwest Outdoors. My name's Chris, and if you liked the video you just saw, please click the like button. I would really appreciate it. If you'd like to see more videos, please click subscribe. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day, and cheers.